Hey everybody, Dr. Jared Skowron from Spectrum Awakening. We are going to be reviewing how to help you keep your kids calm, okay? Now, a lot of kids have a lot of different behaviors. Obviously, we've got kids have a lot of energy, period, okay? But, we've got to figure out what is normal activity level for certain age kids and what is too excessive. Okay. Now, that's definitely an issue for a lot of our kids, especially when it comes to kids who jump around a lot, kids who are very hyper, kids who are using all your furniture as a jungle gym, and then coming down to the point of when it's bedtime, am I calm and going to sleep? We got to figure out, A, does your kid have more energy than the typical child? How do you compare them to other, age-appropriate kids? Does it affect, behavior? Does it affect day-to-day? Can they sit down at the table and eat? Can they sit and focus? Can they sleep? How much activity level do they have? So we're going to be going over different things to help keep kids calm, okay? So the first thing to think about before we get into our research, where did I put my research? Here it is. Before we get into the research, there's a few different things that can affect this energy level. I would say one thing to make sure and rule out is whether or not your child is in pain, okay? Do they have pain because they're teething? Do they have pain because they have some kind of stomach or intestinal infection? Do they have pain because of some kind of headache, all right? Look at your child and see if they seem to be in pain. Now, I know most of our kids don't have, full verbal ability, if any at all, so we can't ask them about it, but we can watch where they touch themselves, all right? Now that I'm thinking about it, that sounded a little weird when I said it, but when you have a headache, what do? You're gonna rub it, you're gonna push on it, okay? This is one of the reasons kids head bang. So if you have a child who is banging their head or pushing it, maybe they like to come up to you and just kind of push right on you with their forehead. Maybe they have some kind of headache, okay? Teething pain, real common. Are they at the age of teething? All right, so obviously teeth start coming around 6 months and through the first couple years, then it takes a break and then jumps back on it with your 6-year molars, all right? So is it teething? Most kids won't put things in their mouth when they're teething. Some will, some won't, but it's something to look out for. Stomach pain, all right? Are they pushing on their belly? Do they like to lean onto a table or onto the back of a chair? That can help them. Do they like to arch their back a lot? Are they doing something that might indicate they have some kind of stomach pain, all right? So I would say that's the first thing to look at, all right? And if you do have some kind of pain, let's see what happens. One thing you can try, if your child does well with ibuprofen, give them a dose of ibuprofen, all right? Now remember, we are no Tylenol. We're a no Tylenol family over here. Give them some ibuprofen. If the ibuprofen improves their behavior dramatically, quickly, then you've probably got some pain. All right, ibuprofen's an anti-inflammatory, so if you give an anti-inflammatory and things get dramatically better quickly, there's probably pain. We've got to figure out the pain first. Again, if they have an intestinal infection, you got to go down and treat that. If you're teething, get through the teething kind of pain. And if you're dealing with headaches, those are normally associated with food issues or in extreme cases, mitochondrial dysfunction. All right, so work through the pain first. Secondly, look at allergies. Whether you've got a food allergy, now I'm not talking about sensitivities, I'm talking about food allergies, frank allergies, or environmental allergies, all right? Especially nowadays with seasonal allergies, which are wrapping up, but they're still out there, okay? There's been a bad pollen year, at least where we are. So if behaviors get worse with allergies, or if their behaviors get worse when you give them an antihistamine like Benadryl or Claritin or Zyrtec, you've probably got a histamine problem that affects the brain, okay? Because histamine causes allergic symptoms, but also causes a lot of brain hyperactivity. And antihistamines like Benadryl, Zyrtec, Claritin only affect the typical allergic symptoms and actually make the hyperactivity in the brain a little bit more excessive. So that's one thing to look at. You can give natural things that'll remove histamine from the body, like our histamine C supplement. Take a look at that as well. All right, now that those two parts are out of the way, what I want to get into, the depth of, is how brain chemistry, the chemicals in your brain that control your language, your mood, your behavior, your sleep, your sensory function, how those can affect your behavior levels, all right? So think of the chemicals in your brain. We're gonna be talking about a few of them. Think of the chemicals in your brain like a car, all right? Some are accelerators, some are brakes. So either you have too many accelerators or you have too few brakes, and that's going to cause a lot of the hyperactivity. Now, the major brake of the brain is serotonin. Now, many people have heard of serotonin. Serotonin makes you calm, happy, relaxed. I'm chilling out. I'm on the beach. I got a margarita, pina colada, whatever, and I feel good, all right? Without that serotonin, you're going to be very anxious, very hyper. On the other end of the extreme, you've got accelerators. If you've got too many accelerators, especially adrenaline, that's our fight or flight hormone, okay? If you got too many accelerators, then you can't stop. You are go, 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 go. So what I'm trying to break this down into the different parts, because those kids who are in pain, that hyperactivity will be periodic. Those kids who have histamine issues, again, that'll be very seasonal and get a lot worse during the typical environmental allergy seasons. Kids who have brain chemistry issues are normally more hyper all the time. So that's kind of an issue that we need to talk about. So let me kind of walk you through the different things that we have supplement-wise to help balance that brain chemistry and help you feel calm, help you feel relaxed, and the research behind it, okay? So number one, let's start with serotonin. Now, of course, I'm looking around my desk for my cheaters, because without my cheaters, how am I going to read anything around here? Shoot, I took them home. That's right. Took home my cheaters. So good luck reading this stuff today. We'll see what happens. All right. First research study that I wanted to bring up, and what I wanted to really bring up about this study was the age of this study. This was published in 1996, 25 years ago. We were already aware that serotonin affects autism. Okay, and again, I don't have my cheaters with me, so I'm going to kind of take a look back here. The serotonin says, dear Barbara, how do people do this? Serotonin has been implicated as a factor in autism, and most individuals with autism who are treated have a reduction in ritualistic behavior, that's your OCD, repetitive behaviors, and a reduction in aggression. Those that have serotonin removed from their brain will cause a worsening of stereotypical behavior. So again, 25 years ago, we knew how important serotonin was to help you feel calm, help you feel relaxed. Now, this does a couple things. Number one, again, more serotonin, more happy. Serotonin also affects your cortisol hormone system. So cortisol is your stress hormone. So here's a research study. It says faulty serotonin, interactions in autism, and the results of the 5-hydroxytryptophan challenge test. Now, 5-hydroxytryptophan, that is the major supplement that increases serotonin levels in your body, okay? We abbreviate it 5-HTP, 5-hydroxytryptophan, 5-HTP, all right? So what this one says is the results suggest that autism is accompanied by a major disequilibrium in the serotonin system, okay? So we know serotonin is an issue. We know that the 5-HTP test improves a lot of these behaviors. Again, not only because affecting the brain, calming it down, but its effect on cortisol and our stress hormone. So now let's segue, before we segue over, increasing serotonin is easy. It's super easy because you are what you eat, all right? The chemicals in the brain, they come from the foods we eat. They mostly come from protein. It's this 5-hydroxytryptophan, this 5-HTP. We have a 5-HTP that's chewable, so it's easy to take. Ours is called super serotonin support. That's going to increase your serotonin. Helps calm down a lot of kids. Usually we recommend it before bedtime to help with sleep. Some of our super hyper kids will give them a dose in the morning and a dose before bed. All right. Next, let's segue over to that cortisol hormone we talked about. So cortisol is your stress hormone, and it is very important to maintain how stressed we feel, because if we feel stressed, we're going to react with a fight or flight reaction, okay? A lot of the kids who can't handle change. So if your child can't handle change, transitional anxiety, doesn't like to go from one thing to another, doesn't like no, this is all suggestions they have problems with their cortisol levels, and treating the cortisol naturally is amazing at helping their behaviors. So here is another research study here, a review of the rhythm and responsiveness in cortisol in those with autism. And again, I got to hold it back here because I forgot my glasses. Hyporesponsiveness was observed in those who have social stress, and a hyperresponsive reaction were those who had stimulations that were unpleasant or other social interactions. So what does that mean? basically states that cortisol hormone levels will be imbalanced in kids with autism. Some too low, some too high. Okay, it can be all over the map. Normally, when we test it in our clinic, we see cortisol levels that are low. We have seen high in some kids, but most of the time, I would say 90% of the time, the cortisol we see on our tests are low. And I've tested cortisol on a couple thousand kids, minimum, at least. All right, next, ashwagandha. Here's what this research study is talking about. How do we treat imbalanced cortisol, okay, without drugs? We're doing this naturally. Herbs. Different herbs are the best way to balance your cortisol levels. So one of the herbs that we use is ashwagandha. So this is ashwagandha in brain disorders. I couldn't find any research of ashwagandha in autism, but ashwagandha with brain disorders, what we have here is neuroprotective chemicals in the ashwagandha have very similar, have key pharmacological effects in brain disorders such as anxiety, depression, autism, addiction. It also names other things like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and schizophrenia and Huntington's, etc. But again, autism levels are going to be imbalanced. Cortisol levels are going to be imbalanced in autism. Different herbs like ashwagandha do help. All right. Another great herb for cortisol levels is ginseng. So here's Panax ginseng treatment in patients with autism. All right. So here's an autism study. Panax ginseng is a substance that is effective in the treatment of autism and was investigated and showed some improvement, okay? Kind of a nondescript abstract here, but research study did look at Panax ginseng with autism and showed benefits, okay? The benefits, again, are mostly in behavior. So where do you get these herbs to balance cortisol? We've got a supplement that we use. I love it. It works with so many of our kids. Temper Tamer. Temper Tamer has these herbs such as ashwagandha, such as ginseng, such as maca, skullcap, and licorice that will help balance those cortisol levels, and it will help with the behaviors, okay? Especially that quick trigger. That's why we named it Temper Tamer, because a lot of the kids with these cortisol issues have a quick temper, okay? So that is part of the issue. Last but not least for treatment, okay? We have, here's a research study from aggression in autism, the behavioral sequelae of monoamine oxidase deficiencies. Now, first off, let me kind of stop there. Those are some big words there. We talked about brain chemicals. Now, brain chemicals, we talked about serotonin, are formed from the foods in our body, from 5-HTP. It's a protein. Protein makes serotonin. Okay. Protein also makes other brain chemicals such as adrenaline. Now, what happens with adrenaline? Adrenaline is your fight or flight. It's good. That's what you need. But you got to be able to get rid of it. And people who cannot get rid of their adrenaline start building up their adrenaline levels. And all of a sudden, you've got this real kind of angry, aggressive kid or anybody because of their high adrenaline. Now, adrenaline is removed from the body with this gene called MAO. And the gene creates the enzyme MAO. So MAO is the way to get the adrenaline out of the body. But some people don't have good MAO enzyme or gene activity, okay? So this is a research study, again, from aggression to autism, the sequelae of monoamine oxidase deficiency. That basically means you can't get rid of your adrenaline, all right? It says the MAO gene removes the adrenaline, and the clinical condition caused by this deficiency is characterized by antisocial and overt aggressive behaviors. So you have a kid who's angry. You have a kid who isn't going to socialize because they've got so much adrenaline, fight or flight. You gotta move and get rid of that adrenaline. The best way that I've seen is with a mineral treatment of lithium orotate. Now, lithium, most of the time I say lithium, you're gonna think the drug, okay? Lithium is a mineral. It's an element. It's on the periodic table of elements. You go into science class, it's number 3, right under hydrogen. You got hydrogen, you got helium, you got lithium, okay? It is a mineral, it's in the earth, and it's amazing at helping improve mood and aggression by activating this MAO gene and removing your adrenaline. So again, lithium the mineral, not the drug, lithium the mineral will remove adrenaline and help keep you calm, okay? The hard part with the research is there's very, very little research on lithium mineral. It's all on lithium, the pharmaceutical, but we can make the extrapolation about what it's doing and use the mineral treatment rather than the drug treatment. So revisiting lithium, a utility for behavioral stabilization in adults and adolescents with autism. And it talks about how lithium is a viable, efficacious, and well-tolerated treatment for use as a mood stabilizer in those people with autism. So I love lithium, and we have paired lithium with other supplements to improve the removal of adrenaline and the removal of glutamate. Now, glutamate is another stimulatory chemical there in the brain that causes a lot of problems. Any of you who have taken GABA and had a lot of behavioral problems from the GABA, it's probably because of this glutamate genetic issue. You want to be able to get rid of that. So our lithium powder is anger management. Again, this is lithium the mineral, not the drug, okay? But anger management, it's got the lithium. It's also got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other supplements that are gonna help remove adrenaline, remove glutamate, actually convert glutamate into glutathione, and help you stay calm. So there are lots of other things out there. And in fact, the other supplement that we use a lot of, this is our number 2 bestseller, and we've had it since the beginning. It's called Calm and Cool. Calm and Cool is a combination of inositol, taurine, theanine, and GABA, and a little magnesium that works great to help keep you calm. So many different things that you can do. So let me kind of step back, regroup, review everything, and then answer as many live questions as we can within the hour. So behaviors, it's a problem with a lot of kids. Okay, they're too hyper, they're bouncing around, using your house as a jungle gym, can't sleep, go, 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 go. How can we bring them down? How can we help calm them down to an average level? We don't want to zombify them, we don't want to knock them out, we don't want to take away their personality, but we want our life a little bit more calm, and we want them a little bit more calm, because frankly, that kind of activity level is going to affect their concentration, their focus, and their work with therapies, and their ability to improve. So, number 1, make sure that there is no pain. All right, is the hyperactivity coming from pain, headaches, teething, stomach infections? Look at that. If the timing happens with the allergy seasons, look for natural antihistamines like our histamine C that can help with those. Last but not least, balance brain chemistry. All right, and again, the great ways that we do it with research behind it is boosting up serotonin with super serotonin support, reducing adrenaline with anger management, and balancing out those cortisol levels with temper tamer. And again, just to throw on, the Calm and Cool is a great place to start as well. So a lot of things to try, help keep your kids calm, help reduce that hyperactivity, be better at home, be better during therapies, be better at school. This is, we want to do as many things as we can to help our kids.